So wonderful. Thank you again for everyone for being here today as we host our third annual nutrition webinar. We do have a full house. We have some wonderful partners on the call, some of our site leaders, our volunteers, and of course our great food bank staff. So thank you for being here. Again, this year's theme is Nourishing Communities, supporting nutrition education and food safety efforts to promote a well-being for all. Love what I'm seeing already in the chat, and I feel like it is going to be the message for today when we talk about nourishing communities and what that looks like. A little bit of housekeeping. So everyone, if you can please stay muted just throughout the call so we don't hear any background noise. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to type it into the chat. You can raise your hand to ask a question as well. Just also know that at the end, there will be a Q&A section, and we'll also be able to stay on a little bit longer. So if you can save your question to the end, that would be great, just so the webinar will flow a little easier. But if you have a pressing question to ask, feel free to pop it into the chat. We'll be able to answer it on chat or during our Q&A. And like I said, the webinar will be recorded and posted onto the partner resource page for everyone to have access. So our small but mighty nutrition team. My name is Alex Navarro. I'm the Director of Community Nutrition. I am thrilled to be here. This is our wonderful group here. We have Diana Garcia, photographed to the far left. That is the nutrition manager that covers Santa Clara County. We have Evelyn Tai all the way to the far right. She's our nutrition manager that covers all of San Mateo County. And we have Mary Dow, our senior manager, to the middle left. One fun fact about both Mary and myself, we both started many, many years ago as health ambassador volunteers. So we are just so excited to be here. We have 25 years of combined food bank experience, and really excited again just to share all the great work that we do in community. Some of today's topics, we're going to cover the nutrition policy and HER ranking. We're going to cover some food safety, of course. It wouldn't be a nutrition presentation without a food safety component. Community nutrition outreach, our wonderful volunteer program, which consists of our health ambassadors and our nutrition champions. All the great resources that you have access to, from our nutrition center to our resources, prints, all the good stuff we're going to share. We will have a Q&A section. And then lastly, please stay till the end because we're going to have a raffle as well. We do hope that you leave today knowing how you can access all these wonderful resources. We want you guys to get energized to really promote health and wellness at your food distribution. So commitment to community wellness. I think during the chat when we asked what does a nourished community look like to you, I think you guys really painted a picture of what it does look like. It is having enough food that you want, having access to healthy food, great for mental health, for physical health. And that is also our long-term goals. So in our nutrition department, our goals are to improve the client's health and well-being, but it also really goes beyond food. It's also about building resilient communities. So today, what you're going to hear about those protective factors, those healing practices that are going to help build resilience, and what that looks like to us. Building resilience is about nourishment. It's about connection. It's about engagement, mindfulness, movement, and one very important component to us, it's about the joy of cooking. So we are also expanding just wonderful outreach that is, again, beyond food into like this whole piece of connection, mindfulness, and it encompasses wellness, which is really wonderful. We was torn with this slide about what to share, but I think, in the food bank world, we hear a lot about food security and food insecurity. And I wanted to highlight that we are expanding in the nutrition department our efforts to advance not only food security, but we're really honing in on nutrition security. I'm going to read the definition here. It is a mouthful. Consistent, so nutrition security, it's consistent and equitable access, availability, and affordability of foods and beverages essential to promote well-being and prevent, and if needed, treat disease, particularly among racial ethnic minorities and rural and remote populations. So why I want to share this is because nutrition security, aside from food security, allows us to consider the quality of food, which is really important. And what it does, it emphasizes that those that are food insecure have the higher chance of having diet-related diseases, illnesses, and disparities. What nutrition security also does, it also takes on a health equity lens, and it recognizes other structural inequities that really make it harder for people to make those quote-unquote healthy food choices. What we know from being out in the community, from what our managers get back from our clients, is that it is hard for our neighbors to always make healthy food choices. It's hard for ourselves to make the healthy food choices. And even when food is available, we need to recognize that food is just one contributing factor towards this. And that's why I'm so excited about the work that our managers are doing. The work that's being done by our team is so valuable and has such an impact on our communities. So for those that may or may not know, we've had a nutrition policy since 2016. This is what some of our goals look like now. And it's really been, with having goals, it's being strategic with the foods that we actively source. So it is maintain a 50% distribution of fresh produce. Why I have that 50% plus highlighted is because currently we're at about 60%. So you can see that this was a goal from a few years ago, but now what we are distributing is closer to 60% of fresh produce. We incorporate protein, grains, and dairy options. So we want to be able to have foods that clients are going to be able to go home and be able to make healthy meals with, and balanced meals also. So again, that's going to consist of certain protein items, certain grains, certain dairy. Continue to not distribute candy and sugary sweetened beverages. We've had this implemented in our policy since 2016. Currently till this day, we still do not distribute candy or sugary beverages. There are some exceptions with sugary beverages, such as nutritional supplement drinks and some flavored milk. And the reason behind that is we really want to make sure that the food that we do give out to clients is going to be the healthiest, nutritious foods. And to have our inventory filled with candy or soda, I feel like it would just do a disservice to our clients, where we can actually have a load filled of fresh produce and grains and dairy and other really wonderful items to make a dish. We also want to ensure that a minimum of 90% of all the food and beverages distributed meets the criteria for green and yellow categories. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We shared it, I believe, the last two webinars, but I want to be able to give everyone a refresher of what those categories actually mean. So what are those categories that I'm talking about? We have an HER, it's HER, not her. I know sometimes I always want to say her. It is Healthy Eating Research. It is a ranking system. So what this ranking system does, it improves the quality of food coming into our inventory and being distributed out into our community. We've all heard the quote, "What gets measured gets done." So as we measure the food that comes into our inventory, it's important to stay focused, committed to our goals. This is an easy way to report this information out, and it's based off of the nutritional value of the food. So the purpose: to evaluate the nutritional quality of food bank inventory, increase nutritious foods distributed to our partners, and improve how we communicate the nutrition information. And I do want to note that there is room for all foods. I'll go through the ranking right now, you can see the green and the yellow and the red. So what the HER ranking has done, it takes an approach using almost like a stoplight system. It's a three-tiered colored system. So you can see to the left, it's green, which is your choose often foods. We have yellow, your choose sometime foods, and then your red, choose rarely foods. And what this approach aims to do is just to support a very user-friendly way so we can share out what our inventory looks like. So every week on Monday mornings, I set aside about 15 minutes and take a look at the inventory, take a look at all the food that comes in, and I rank it based off of the nutritional value. And why I like this is it also recognizes that food is neither good or bad. There is room for all foods. And the ranking is based off of this isn't something that I created. This is based off nutritional science. It's the key nutrients that we look at is saturated fats, sodium, and added sugar. And those three components are known to be key contributors to diet-related conditions if consumed on a daily basis. Um, Along with reports that I can pull internally. If any agency here on the call wants to find out a specific time frame of what their nutritional ranking order looks like, I can also pull that. And then you can see here some of the examples for the choose often. Always going to be fresh fruits and vegetables. It's going to be whole grains, unsweetened milk and dairy, yogurts. And then the yellow category, it'll be a little bit more refined grains, some flavored milk, flavored yogurts. And then the red is most likely the canned stuff that has higher salt. All desserts are usually in the red category, and some entrees that are frozen. But again, the choose rarely, the red doesn't mean stop, I can't have it. It just means we want you to be able to make a better educated, informed decision as to what the food item is. And for those agencies, I don't want to put too much emphasis here because I don't know how many on the call are agencies that can order from Agency Express. But for the small amount of agencies here, we want to show you that in the Agency Express, there is that column that says nutritional information. And just so there's no confusion, basically what the nutritional information means, it piggybacks that the HER ranking guideline. So this print is very, very small to see, but you'll have the food item and you'll be able to see where it is where it is categorized, whether it's the green, the yellow, or the red. And what this information can do, it helps inform agencies on the nutritional ranking on food, again, based on added sugar, saturated fats, and sodium. Also recognizes that food is neither good or bad, and it allows you to make those food offering choices for your agency. Another thing that I want to add is we recognize depending on the food storage at your facility, your client demographic, the type of program that you run, you might find that a lot of your food falls into the red category. When you think of snacks, ready to eat food, canned food, frozen entrees. But again, that we trust that you know what's best for your clients, what they need, what their adequate intake needs to be. So again, we don't want you to think that the red means bad. It's just based off of the client needs. And what I want to share also is those choose rarely can still be part of a wholesome, nutritious diet when eating occasionally. So I'm super excited to talk about this part because it's the work that our team does, and it's what we've been doing in community. And I want to share those values that are driving all of our nutrition education efforts. We want you to know that these are rooted in improving the health and well-being of our clients, of our neighbors, of your clients, your neighbors. And what we have done as we get to know the community better is we're able to design engagement, and tools as needed. So I want to share these three guiding principles of ours. The first one is culture centered. We recognize that the food we eat is a lot more than just about diet and nourishment. Our nutrition education honors our cultural traditions and foodways and connects them to our community. So what this approach does, it's going to provide a safe space for cultural dishes and healthy eating patterns, so both of them can coexist. We believe cultural representation is super important when talking about food, creating recipes, and even with the food that's available. Our next approach is trauma informed. We understand the impact of trauma on the body and on the mind, and we work towards building protective healing factors that include thoughtful conversations around food. And what we know is stress does a lot to the body, and prolonged stress can cause disruption in your metabolism, in your hormones, making it really hard for your clients to make good decisions around food, especially around nutritious food. There's another component with trauma informed, and it's food trauma. Food trauma tends to be very overlooked in our society, so we treat the conversations with care, and we're very thoughtful when we engage with your clients around food and food choices. And the last one, integrative focused. We believe that diet and nutrition education is mostly effective when it's coupled with other initiatives that influence health, wellness, and disease prevention. So how I like to think about this is more of a holistic approach. We have found that topics on mindfulness, mindful eating, yoga, gentle movement, all of these practices, along with the food that we provide, helps clear your thoughts, calms your nervous system. We even have a class called Journaling for Better Health. So all of these components are really what's going to help drive and influence clients' health aside from just food. So we have a deeper understanding of our communities. This has allowed us to redefine our nutrition education approach, how we show up in community, how we show up at your grocery sites, at your agency presentations, and most important, how we show up having conversations with your clients. I'm now going to hand it over to Mary Dow, and she can talk about food safety.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So we're going to talk about food safety, everyone's favorite topic, right? So we all know the importance of food safety and to ensure that best practices are always held in place, especially when we're working with vulnerable populations. We want to recommend that anyone within your facility or your distribution take our annual food safety training. This training is available on our nutrition center and on their partner resource page. So it's really good to just share it out, and anyone who wants to take it can take it. All right. Food quality. So most of the food that we source are donated, and we're able to rescue high quality foods from local growers and retailers within the area that would otherwise throw it away or it goes to the waste. So with that in mind, we want to let you know that the food items we get may not always be up to retail grade. That means that there are going to be some cosmetic defects, or there's going to be unusual shape and sizes. I'm sure some of you have seen like very odd shaped carrots or giant eggplants, cabbages, all that fun stuff. So to ensure that food is distributed safely to your clients, we want to make sure that you're inspecting the food, and if there's any like thing that would spoilage or mold, please discard them and do not distribute that. And also, if you're unsure, of course, please take a photo and send it to your program manager or coordinator so that they could log it into our system, and then we're able to properly manage and keep it from going to other locations as well. And gloves, so proper glove usage. So we want to bring up that it is not always necessary to wear gloves if you're not handling food, especially for the volunteers that are working with registration, guiding traffic, or just doing any role that doesn't involve food handling. So we want to make sure that you at your facility use glove at your own discretion when handling food, especially when it comes to dry good items as well, because gloves may not always be necessary. However, for anybody that is handling ready to eat foods or any raw products such as meat, chicken, or seafood items, we highly recommend, and it should be required, that you wear gloves. So make sure that those volunteers or staff members are washing their hands, sanitizing, and wearing gloves each and every time they're handling those items. Also, when any volunteers on site at a free grocery distribution, if they're unboxing or bagging or distributing the frozen food items like the chicken, meats, or seafood items, please make sure that they're also wearing gloves, because we want to make sure that they're safe, and also when they're passing it along to clients, to keep clients safe too as well. Okay. And then plastic bags and boxes. So with the food bank taking a more sustainable approach, we plan to reduce the amount of bags that are going to be sent out. Plastic bags should also only be used for all the raw meats, poultry, and seafood items. Milk and eggs actually do not need to be bagged anymore, but please be aware that these are allergen items, which I'll talk a little bit about in the next slide. But if these leak or get onto other items, please discard everything, because if anybody's allergic to that and they touch it, they could get allergic reaction. So please discard and break down all boxes, especially the chicken boxes and egg boxes as well, to prevent them from being reused either by the volunteers or the clients. And then food date labels. So we know food date labels are a big concern of everyone, especially the clients receiving food from us. And this concern may only increase as we continue to work more closely with the food grocery rescue team, as we're bringing in more donated foods. So with that in mind, we want to address that although these food items may be close or past the label dates, they're still considered safe to eat, with the exception of supplements, drinks, baby formula, baby food, and medication. So these are the few items that, if they're past the date, we want to discard those and not give it out at all, because there is no more nutritional value to them and they might not be safe to consume at all. And then also on this right-hand side, some of you may have seen this handout. We've probably given it to you, or you might have seen it inside the agency shopping area, but it is our When Should I Eat This handout. It is a very good guideline to give out to clients, so that they understand, like, oh, so even though certain food items are past the date, they're still able to consume it up to a certain amount of time. Please note that these items, they should be sealed and closed. So if they are open, of course, like the shelf life is a little bit less than what it is when it's sealed. And then we recently just got these available in Korean, Russian, and Tagalog. So if you have sites with clients that speak those languages, feel free to reach out to us and we can send it to you so that you're able to print it out. We hope to have them printed out hard copies at the office soon. So also request that from us later on when Diana goes through it. And then food allergies. So food allergy is an immune system reaction that occurs soon after eating a certain food item. So we want to make sure that even anything that has a food allergen, especially the ones on the big 9 list on our right here. So we have milk, eggs, wheat, peanut, tree nuts, soybean, fish, shellfish, and sesame, which was just added to the list in 2022. We want to make sure that anything that contains these items is labeled, especially if you're in a meal prepping agency where you're cooking food. We want to make sure that everything's labeled correctly so that nothing can potentially go into contact with something that shouldn't. So this is also known as preventing cross contact, which is the transfer of allergens from a food or equipment containing an allergen to another equipment or food item. Yeah, allergens are a really big deal, because even the tiniest amount can trigger a reaction. So we want to make sure everyone is really safe and handling these items as carefully as they should be. And now I'm gonna pass it on to Evelyn Tai to go over our community nutrition outreach.
Hi, everyone. So now we're going to dive into our community nutrition outreach services and activities. So this is designed to basically help your clients feel empowered and inspired to choose nutritious foods, especially as we're showing up for distributions or say your pantry. Overall, we really just want clients and potentially agency shoppers, right, to feel good about the foods that they are taking back home and that they are receiving, and that they are equipped, that they feel equipped and know what to do with the food items as they head back home or take it back to the agency, to your agency. And our outreach services fall under what I would like to call two major general umbrellas, if you will, or branches. Outreach at our partner agency sites being one. We've been more recently transitioning on focusing more heavily on that, as it allows us to have a more focused, deeper conversation directly with participants when they are in that nice focused classroom type setting. The other branch or the other umbrella would be at our free grocery markets, pantries, distributions. All right. So before I even get started with this, I just wanted to do a quick highlight and shout out to this participant. This is actually a real life participant at one of our presentations in Half Moon Bay, trying one of our newer recipes, photos taken by Diana, of our savory jian bing. So if you're interested, go check it out. Link is going to be forthcoming. So again, circling back to that first major branch we're focusing on for outreach is outreach at your partner agency sites. And so the overarching goal of outreach at your agency is to help promote client well-being, increase their knowledge for self-care, right? Especially about just overall wellness, food, cooking, encouraging building a positive relationship with food while honoring their culture, and hopefully making it really accessible so that no matter where they're starting at, it doesn't feel impossible, right? Hoping to build that more sustainable behavior step by step, because it all sort of adds up. Little steps add up. And more specifically, these services include cooking demonstrations or cooking demo presentations, sometimes they're called, where we highlight nutritious whole food ingredients, especially highlighting the foods that they are receiving, whether it's that week, that month, focusing on easy, tasty meal and snack ideas. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up during the low-fat phase where, boy, a lot of those things just tasted like cardboard. And if you were to tell me to, quote, eat healthy, I might be giving you side eye, right? So we're just trying to step away from that stereotype, building into what can we help to add more? What can we do to add more positive, fun, tasty items so that they are more prone to bring that behavior forward and to practice it without us, because we can't be their moms all the time, at home, or with their neighbors, or with their families. And then, of course, needless to say, hopefully connecting them with the joy of cooking. Just the act of cooking and taking care of yourself is another form of just well-being and self-care. Another service that falls under outreach at agency partners is trauma-informed wellness presentations. Alex earlier mentioned the importance of just keeping in mind, looking at things through a trauma-informed lens. Not everybody, again, starts at the same point. We might all have different backgrounds, histories, etc. Presentations right now are just building. We're building on it. So to give you a better idea, we do have basic information, basic presentation information on, say, diabetes. These are just some examples. Hypertension, prevention and management tips on those, mindful eating. I think one coming up was nourishing meal habits. And I wanted to make sure to mention, again, these are classroom type settings, but having said this, each manager in their county has their own specialty, right? Previously, you've heard about maybe journaling, that mindful eating aspect, the yoga. So we will try our best to communicate and work with you, that collaboration effect, so that we can best adapt these classes to your clients' needs, basically. Because guess what? You guys probably know your clients best. They are your regulars. Okay, moving on. So the second branch, or that second umbrella, a general umbrella that I was talking about earlier, is outreach at your free grocery markets, pantries, distributions. And this is with the goal of enhancing that client experience as they are there, right? Perhaps they've been waiting in line that half an hour earlier, and increasing the likelihood of using the foods that they are receiving. Sometimes I will say, and I think some of you guys might be able to attest if you've had us out at your sites, it's maybe hopefully helping to increase that chance that they might pick up that, quote, challenging produce. I might get a few laughs as we talk about squash, what used to be winter squash or summer squash is now year-round squash, and people might be getting squash fatigue. So sometimes we try to, sort of cater to that issue or work with that issue by having some on-site food demos and samples. We do find that that resonates or helps resonate a little better with clients out in terms of them wanting more likely to pick up that said challenging food item. Also helps to resonate better rather than just, hey, we do have really beautiful recipe cards and printed resources, but I don't know about you, I don't want to speak for anyone, but I know for myself, if you were to give me a food sample and that is mighty tasty, and I got to watch how simple it was to prep, make, and eat it, boy, okay, you got me. Hook, line, sinker. I am taking that recipe card home and I'm probably going to share it with my neighbor. And somebody actually did do that. That's why I'm telling their story. And that's how I know. But outside of recipe cards, right, there's other printed inline resources. So we do have things such as food safety handouts, which will, again, be talked in more detail later on. While we are at sites, we can also help provide some or answer some basic food safety questions as needed, just as a good side resource, just in case something pops up. And I know somebody mentioned earlier, if I missed it in chat, it was somebody's favorite picture. But basically, yes, this was taken of a client and she's been a regular. She's been there, I mean, since the beginning of when I started going there. So she's been a regular and she just loves sharing her tips and tricks. So not only are we teaching the community, they are teaching us, honestly. They actually hold more knowledge than we do combined. So it's really a great experience all around. Okay. Oh. There we go. So if after talking about those two general umbrellas, you're going, well, this sounds great, but how the heck do I reach you guys? What's the next steps? We do have a community nutrition outreach request form, so it does help to streamline the process. If you are interested in the services we have to offer, this online form, basically you fill it out. It just really helps us, if you do, to help streamline the process of all the typical logistic questions that might be coming, back and forth between emails. Nice and streamlined on that one page. Fill it out. That way we know, especially if we're out there at your site or event for the first time, what it looks like, what it entails, what's going on, will a table be provided, all of that good stuff, all in one place. And if you're curious how to reach it, we do have a nice handy QR code right here on this slide that is active, and we'll lead you to the link to that online form. Feel free to scope that out if you're curious. All right, on to the part that I personally have to say is my favorite to talk about. So given that there are hundreds and growing, hundreds of sites and agencies we partner with in both Santa Clara and San Mateo counties, as much as our small but mighty small team would love to work with and reach everyone, let's just say we're physically unable to be everywhere all at once. Although that would be such an incredible feat, right? I mean, maybe cloning technology at some point, I don't know. Discussion for another day. But anyway, so this is where our health ambassadors come in. Needless to say, they are invaluable in helping us expand our capacity to provide nutrition and wellness outreach resources and services to you, our partners. Okay. So again, health ambassadors play a really big key role, especially when a member of our team is unable to be on site, right? They directly engage with your community members. They help to lead presentations at your agencies, as well as make and share food samples at your free grocery markets, distributions. In fact, some of the resources that you see being distributed at your sites are also created by our very volunteers that you're seeing working at your sites as well. Essentially, they are the ones on the ground when we can't make it, helping to promote those conversations. Be those active listeners to clients and the stories that they might want to share that day. Learn more about the different needs, preferences in your area, in the community you're working in, all culminating to what we hope, anyway, help clients feel heard as a person and enhance their overall client experience, no matter where they are at, because everybody might be at a different point and we just don't know. No judgment. So hopefully many of you have had the opportunity to meet some of our health ambassadors when they visited your site and see how awesome they are firsthand. Okay. And because we love our health ambassadors so much, I'm going to continue tooting their horn and highlighting them with some visuals. So here are some actual photos of them giving presentations or cooking demos at partner agencies specifically. So clockwise from the top left are our volunteers at Don Didios Apartments, Alma Point, Arroyo Green, and Elena Garden Apartments. Now, seeing this, if you guys are now wondering, oh, what if I can't provide a swanky kitchenette space like in most of these photos? Will you still be able to come and provide this presentation service at my site? Because I mean, I might not have all of that. Or maybe the space that day just isn't available, right? And for the most part, yeah, we will definitely try to work with you, try to accommodate and adapt the class as much as possible. Usually, I will mention, I do want to say, a minimum of a table for prep work and chairs for your participants is what's asked for, mostly because it does get pretty difficult to chop food in the air. So that would be a minimum ask. All right. Looks like there's a delay. There we go. So following that up with more visuals, here are some photos of our health ambassadors, health ambassador volunteers at some free grocery sites and resource events. So clockwise from the left, again, are our volunteers at College of San Mateo, Cañada College, at a Sunday Friends Community Day event, and Hoover Resource Day. So many of these tend to be outdoors. You'll notice that probably we won't have electrical outlets, sink, right? That fancy kitchen situation, and that is okay. What is going to be noted is, so when it comes to samples, just know that realistically, they will typically be more simple, no-cook recipes. And those are actually quite a popular hit in general, so it's actually not a bad thing. If your site is able to provide a generator, like I believe Cañada College on the top right, great. If you can provide one upon request, it's not that we need it every time, that will help to potentially just open up the opportunity to share more recipes. So more on the side of warm cooked foods for clients to sample. Okay. And having said all of this and showing you our love for our volunteers and everything that they do, the invaluable work that they do, we would love to take this time to let everyone know we are actively seeking for candidates to be nutrition champions. So sometimes our small team is unable to make an event, right? And maybe we are short on available volunteers simultaneously. Life happens, we get it. But we're hoping that by creating this role, we are perhaps helping to fill the potential outreach gap that might occur during this time so that clients can continue to be reached. So, and have access to community nutrition resources and to work together in supporting client choice. And because I noticed we are short on time, I am just going to read through this slide here because most of it's good information to know. So when you're being a nutrition champion, some things to think about is being a consistent presence at that one site. What you would typically probably already work at, right? So encouraging, helping us to encourage utilization of the foods being distributed, share recipe card information, educate on basic food safety if you're comfortable. No nutrition background is necessary because training is provided. This is also a good time to just pitch that if you are perhaps a site leader or you're part of an agency that maybe might have already an established line of volunteers, and some people are coming to mind, feel free to reach out to us with potential candidates. And if you have further questions, and just email us. So now I'm going to give the floor to Diana Garcia to tell you more about our resources.
Thank you, Evelyn. Good morning, everyone. Actually, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to talk now about the Nutrition Center. Some of you may be familiar with this resource already, or some of you, it may be new for some of you. So we are going to quickly describe what it is and how it can help you to reach your goals of, encouraging your clients. There you go. To utilize the foods that we provide. Okay, so the Nutrition Center is the resource that we share with clients and with partners for them to get more ideas and to inspire them to cook with the foods that we provide. So it is embedded within the Second Harvest page. And if you go to like the main page of Second Harvest, then you go to get food, and then there is a drop-down menu. You scroll down, and there is a title that says Nutrition Center. That's where we are going to be. And then if you keep scrolling down, it will give you resources and information. You will see here our digital cookbook. If you haven't downloaded this yet, you may be inspired to download it today and read the stories of our clients and get some recipes that are going to be really tasty for you to try or maybe to share with your clients. And then if you keep scrolling down, you will see that we have a different variety of recipes that feature ingredients that you commonly see at the distributions. They are culturally appropriate. They also have, like they are sweet recipes, savory recipes for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. We even have desserts. And then in this nutrition center, we have over 135 recipes that we have created with the help of ideas that we receive from clients, from health ambassadors, from partners like yourself. And if you, let's say, have a really great recipe that you would like to share that is easy to recreate and also feature ingredients that are affordable, we would love to hear from you. So please let us know if you have this recipe with these characteristics. So now, in the tabs above the recipes, you will find that we have recipes, we have nutrition education presentations, food safety resources, and client stories as well. And then on the left-hand side, you will see that we have filters, and those filters are, you can choose by recipe type if you want to have breakfast, dessert, main dishes, pasta, salads, smoothies. You can choose from that. We also have cuisines, what type of cuisine, ethnicity, cultural relevant recipes. We also have cook time for people who want to do something that is longer or shorter, and then special diet characteristics if they want dairy-free, vegan, vegetarian, and then equipment. As you know, we work with different varieties of populations, and some of our clients don't have they only have a microwave or they don't have cooking equipment. So this will help them sort the recipe that they are looking for. Okay, if you go back to the bar above the recipes, you can filter by ingredients. So let's put squash here. And then you just hit squash or hit enter, and it will default you to all the squash recipes, right? But then let's say you have squash and cinnamon or squash and apple. You want to go back and close or just go back and put a squash and apple, and it will give you the recipes with these two ingredients. So it is very convenient, easy to navigate, and please, I encourage you to take your time, go to the Nutrition Center. We are super proud to tell you that all the recipes here, we have tested them in-house, and we have photographed them in-house as well. So everything you see here, we know personally that they're delicious and nutritious and a great resource for your clients. So yeah, they are fun and easy to follow. And we also have cooking videos. You will find nutrition tips, handouts, and online presentations, information on food safety and food label dates, which is very popular among our clients. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, and this is like, okay, so this, for example, I love this picture. This is a recipe for beets pancake. This was photographed by Evelyn. And every time I see these pancakes, I crave pancakes. So I really love this photo. Okay, so the recipe cards are a great tool to teach clients how to best utilize the foods that they receive. It teaches them ways to use and prepare foods, inspires cooking with new recipe ideas, shows that nutrition foods can also be delicious, and this is so important. Builds clients' confidence with easy to follow recipe, prevents food waste. And it shows that it is possible to cook delicious meals on a budget. So that's great. Okay, so we also have recipe cards that are, not all of the recipes that we have in the Nutrition Center are printed, but we have some. And if you would like to request some of those recipes, we can bring them to your agency or mail them. And also, if you go to the Nutrition Center, each recipe will have a PDF version as well. If you go to the recipe, the PDF will be there, and then you click on there, and it's a printer-friendly version. We have 4 languages, and then these languages are English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. And also, but also you can print it or we can mail some of them. Okay, we have nutrition handouts, food safety handouts. When should I eat this? Which some of you request a lot. Keep your food safe. What is a food allergen? Date codes guideline, poultry safety, serve safe manual. And then you can request also or go to the Nutrition Center for the food safety checklist, agency checklist, free groceries, home delivery, and product recall guidelines for agencies and sites handling recall items. And I know we are super short in time, but I would like to show you something really quick. Can we go to the Nutrition Center really quick again? Okay, this is not going to take us that long. Okay, so if you have a population that doesn't speak any of the 4 languages that I mentioned before, you can go to the top of this of the page, and you will see a drop-down menu, and it will default you to a language that you choose. So there are several languages that you can choose from. This is what I wanted to show. Okay, all right, so going back to where we were, we are now ready to open it up for a Q&A session.
All right, and just in the interest of time, we did have a story about Donna from Abundant Grace in Half Moon Bay trying this Vibrant Breed smoothie. So I'm just gonna give the abridged version of, if you're wondering, well, this is an interesting photo to put for Q&A. What's up with that expression? She came in, immediately saw as we were prepping and setting things up. I don't know about those raw beets. They taste really earthy. I don't like beets. And just was, but to her credit, she stayed and said, yes, I will take a sip, quote, tentative sip, not my words, her words, right? And what she found out was all of those ingredients together for this particular recipe, not bad. And that is where this expression came from. And even though 2 of these cups are pictured, she actually took home a 3rd with a cap. Or, yep. So that's the story, short story. And now we're going to have a few, looks like we have a few minutes to answer some questions. If we run out of time and questions pop up beyond this and it wraps up, you guys can always email us. You can reach us that way. Opening up the floor.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, or feel free to type it into the chat if you like. Robin is saying, super excited to see how we now have Russian handouts for our expiration dates. 1/3 of your clients are Russian. Yeah, that's great. We are trying to expand our recipes as well. As of now, they're just in 4 languages, but we wanted to test it out first with the When Should I Eat This flyer. We will be expanding at least 1 additional language at a time. We'll kind of give it 1 more minute if anyone has any questions, because I know everyone's waiting for the raffle, but if anyone has any questions around the food policy, the HER guidelines, any food safety questions.
Amanda had a question. What is the best way to request a cooking demonstration at sites? So earlier, Evelyn showed the QR code to help to get the link to request our services. We will also send that out if you email us. We have the email at the end of the slides. So if anybody's interested, but if I can also just put it in chat as well in a bit.
And then Brian is asking about free food handling courses available. The Serve Safe food handling course, I believe, is $10.50. What we require with Second Harvest, and again, if you're at an agency, you might have other requirements for from the city or from the county. But with Second Harvest, we have our in-house training that is available all year round for free. It's on our nutrition center. It's pre-recorded, about 35 minutes long. Highly recommended for anyone that is part of the food distribution. But Brian, yeah, for the paid one, I think it's $10.50 through ServeSafe.
All right. Any more questions? Thanks, Dawn. Okay, if there's further questions, we will be staying on afterwards, but let's go on to the raffle now. So we're gonna have 4 winners in total. We're gonna have 2 in Santa Clara County and 2 in San Mateo County. And then the winners will be notified through email and be sent their electronic gift card. So we're gonna go ahead and start with Santa Clara County. Oops, a little lag. The first winner of today will be Stephanie Austin. Congrats, Stephanie. And then our second winner for Santa Clara County. The league from Reach Out. Congratulations. Okay, and now we'll move on to San Mateo County. Oops. Angela. And Ruth Turner. Congratulations to all the winners for today's raffle. And that. So we want to thank you. Congratulations to all the winners. Like I mentioned earlier, the winners will be notified through email. The gift cards will be sent to you electronically. We want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend our 3rd annual webinar today. For those of you who may have any burning questions or concerns or comments, feel free to stay on for a few more minutes with us afterwards. And then if you have any further questions or don't want to stay on, feel free to email us, and we hope to see you all soon again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
I just have a, oh, am I muted there?
Oh,
Cynthia,
yeah.
you're unmuted.
Unmuted.
I just have a quick question on the, what has to do with the distribution of sugared soda or sweetened soda. So I know we don't get it through the food bank, but through our rescue, sometimes, not often, but sometimes we'll get soda. And I'm always like, no, don't put the soda out. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I had that on my notes to mention, and I did not mention it. That is currently just our policy with the food bank. However, we know that soda and candy is going to come in through grocery rescue, and we just leave it up to the agency to know their clientele best, know their priorities best. If you don't have a nutrition policy already in place, I think you can, make your best determination around it. The advice that I give may not be necessarily the advice that you also want to prioritize. I'm happy to chat with you about it. Was that Miss Ruth? I'm happy to chat with you about it if you want to reach out to me, and we can talk a little bit more about really the importance of providing wholesome food for clients. And one reason why we emphasize on the sugary beverages is we know that food insecurity and diet related conditions kind of go hand in hand. So we're really trying to really hone in on the food as medicine initiatives. But happy to chat with you a little bit more around that. We know there's going to be tons of stuff funneling in through Grocery Rescue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions while we have a few people on and a few more minutes? All right, well, thank you again so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. And please reach out to us if you have any questions. Hope everyone feels inspired to promote health and wellness within the community. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.